in there quickly to prevent the single. Non-striker then, Hardik Pandya, is shadow batting any number of strokes. He's just played a Sachin Tendulkar back foot punch. Now he's one-handedly cutting like Zorro. As Walter is in again to Jadeja, it's well wide of the off stump, and Ravi Jadeja is not interested in playing.
Rabindra Jadeja, born 6th of December 1988 in Navagamkhed in Saurashtra, which is somewhere on the sort of left-hand side of India, if I know my Indian geography vaguely, so halfway up on the left-hand side.
Walter turns at the end of his run-up. The outfield beneath him is a light brown colour, and he bowls. That's in the air, just past the dive of cover. Jadeja almost looked to be playing that on the onside, and instead it was a leading edge or the outside half of the bat, and it flew aerially, and if the cover fielder, I think it was Feroz Kushi again, if he'd been 3 or 4 yards to his right, it would have been a simple catch taken at head height. As it is, they run 2, Jadeja off the mark, and India 331 for 8.
Yeah, it was in the air for a long time, but probably always just avoiding the fielder, just a bit too far to his right. It was shoulder height though, it was catchable height.
Jadeja faces Walter again, this time clips off the pads probably for 4. It's the dive of Rishi Patel at mid-wicket, can't prevent the ball reaching the mid-wicket fence. It looked like Patel actually just got half a hand on it, but by the time he got back up off the ground, the ball was rattling into the road. So Jadeja finishes the over with a boundary. India move on to 335 for 8. Hardik Pandya.
Thanks very much, Stefan. Both sides will be reasonably happy with the start they've made. The opening 20 minutes, Essex have taken a wicket, but with the exception of that wicket, off the very first delivery of the day, then the Indians have progressed in a fairly unhurried manner. So it's going to be Aaron Beard to continue, or he will when a spectator's sat down behind him, which he's now about to do. And Aaron Beard is on the way in, right arm over the wicket to the equally right-handed Pandya, and that's just played back to him. And I'm delighted to welcome to join me today. Well, he was here yesterday. I mean, I'm the new boy in this match. Chetan Narula. It's another scorcher, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And it's going to get warmer.
And the thing is, there is a predicted thunder shower later for the afternoon.
Is that today or tomorrow?
Today and tomorrow.
Oh, right. That's just played off the back foot, square on the offside, no addition to the score, fielded by Feroz Kushi.
I thought you were the local boy.
Yeah, well, I live about 20 miles away on the coast at Southend-on-Sea, yes. The land of candy floss and jellied eels and lots of lager.
But there was a very stiff breeze when we came to the ground this morning. I'm not sure if it's vanished somewhere now. It's not there anymore. It's blowing in nicely into our press box.
Yes. Beard moves in again and bowls a full length, driven on the offside and fielded by Matt Dixon, coming across from mid-off. Fielded it rather straight by the time he got to it. Understandably a parched outfield as it is at most grounds, but certainly the paper I read this morning, the chief executive David Belden has gone to great lengths to explain that the BCCI, the Indian authority, didn't want this game reduced because of any malicious rumours about the state of the outfield. But that's shorter length, a poor delivery, and about as poor as the first delivery of the day. Whereas that took a wicket, this goes for 2 runs. The ball just sort of flat batted over backward point. Not a lot of power in it, so it didn't make the boundary. It just ballooned over the fielder for 2 runs. So, yes, any rumours that it's because of the state of the outfield that it was reduced from 4 to 3 are misplaced at best. So the score, 335 for 8. The 2 overnight, not the 2 overnight batsmen to go, no, because Pandya is still there. Indeed, he's facing. And he's the right-hander, and moves in now, bowls. Played again out to mid-off. fielded by Matt Dixon. As I say, a good crowd here. Looking forward to a good day's cricket. Now, admittedly, India only have 2 wickets to lose, but they're very good wickets. I mean, they're not genuine sort of numbers 9 and 10. So I'd have thought if they're still there at lunchtime, they'll probably call it a day then, won't they, do you think?
I think they would want to bat out this innings.
Really?
After this delivery.
Well, we'll see. That's just played down. But they want to give their bowlers some practice as well as their batsmen. That's just played out on the offside, no addition to the score. End of another useful over from Aaron Beard. He's taken 1 of the wickets to fall this morning. He dismissed Karen Nair for 4. And off the first ball of the day, off a less threatening delivery, indeed a long hob outside the off stump, Paul Walter accounted for Kartik, who somewhat obligingly hit it down towards Matt Dixon at very wide third man or deep backward point.
Well, the Pacers were marking their run-up earlier in the morning when practice was going on, a pre-match warm-up and practice routines were being carried out. So India are looking to bowl at some stage during the day's play.
Oh, well, yes. As Walter moves in from the Hayes close end, left arm over the wicket, thick inside half of the bat. Probably Jadeja looking to push it out on the offside. It finished up going just forward of square on the side for 2 comfortable runs. It was along the ground all the time, so his wicket wasn't in danger, but not quite where he meant the ball to go. But comfortable enough, 2 more runs accrue. 3-3-9 for 8. As we get to know and love the scoreboard that we can see easily is always quite a bit in time behind the main one, a facsimile of which we can see, fortunately, in the commentary box. And that's outside the off stump. Jadeja withdrew the bat at the very last moment, went through to the wicketkeeper, who at the moment is Michael Perry. They can't all bat,
Yeah, they can't all bat.
So who's likely to come in at number 11 then?
That is the interesting point,
Yes.
because R. Ashwin should be a shoo-in for the first test. Rishabh Pant, yes, we have Dinesh Karthik, who's the first choice keeper, and Rishabh Pant is really a greenhorn. He's been selected in the test squad for the first time. So, again, it's interesting that if he doesn't bat here, is he out of the reckoning of the first test already?
Well, it's a very good point. Shorter length outside the off stump, again allowed to go through to the wicket-keeper.
The other point, of course, is that Rishabh Pant has been here for the India A tour for a while now, and because of the runs that he scored during that tour, he's been selected in this test squad.
As Walter gets the end of his run-up, tall, fair-haired, left arm over the wicket, moves in, bowls to Jadeja. Certainly can't say he deliberately played inside that one. He went for he was aiming for the large gap between a fairly straightish mid-off and cover. Big gap there, inviting the drive, and luckily from Jadeja's point of view, he didn't get particularly close to it actually.
The reason why Ashwin might come out to bat is because he's just arrived in the UK.
Oh, right.
And so they might just give him that chance to get a feel of the conditions, perhaps.
Yes, quite. As that's way outside the off stump and allowed to go through to the keeper. End of the over, 339 for 8. Pandya not out 38 and Jadeja not out 8.
At the same time, I thought it was interesting that Jadeja also came out to bat ahead of Ashwin, because if Ashwin and Jadeja are both in the reckoning, most of the times you see Ashwin who is batting ahead of Jadeja, but I think it's a little futile to try and make sense of the batting order in this practice game. We also had Ajinkya Rahane batting ahead of Virat Kohli. I remember a couple of instances where Rahane has batted at number 3. And the new ball was doing quite a bit yesterday.
Yes.
This hasn't been an old ball today and hasn't done quite too much in comparison.
We mentioned that the England side is being announced, or squad, in about half an hour's time. Presumably the Indians will announce the side, over the weekend, Saturday or Sunday?
No, the squad has already been announced. That's the 18-man squad, yeah.
Oh, we have. No, sorry. I mean the actual team for the first test.
You're being too hopeful, like, you're being just too hopeful.
That's outside the off stump. Oh, it'll be sort of the evening before, will it?
No, it will be at the time of the toss.
Right. Okay, fair enough.
Not a minute before.
No sooner than we have to.
No sooner than they have to.
Yes, correct.
You're too hopeful about the Indian playing 11.
Yes, sorry, I realised the squad, yes, but no, the actual... Oh, right, oh well, so we'll wait with bated breath until the time. And that's a pleasant-looking shot. They won't make 4, but they'll get 2 out of it. They may well come back for a third. In fact, they will. They've come back for 3 quite comfortably. As the fielder chases after it in a somewhat leisurely manner. It's not the weather or the match where you really sort of bust a gut. And accordingly, Nick Brown went after it in a somewhat stately manner and retrieved it. Maybe just knew there was going to be 3 runs there anyway.
Perhaps not the outfield also to put in that extra.
Well, no, certainly not. No, you certainly don't want to do too many of these sliding stops.
Because I'm sure even the Essex players have quite a bit of cricket ahead in this season.
They certainly do. Very important cricket as well. As a Beard moves in, bowls, and that's just tucked away backward a square for a comfortable single down to long leg. Yes, I mean Essex. Well, I know next week on consecutive days I'm going to Canterbury and then Taunton for T20 games. I'm not sure if they have one between now and then. Their next home game is Sunday the 5th of August when they play Surrey in the T20 competition. So they've got 3 games there very close to each other, the Thursday, the Friday and the Sunday. Beard again. Not a particularly tall man for a fast bowler, which may possibly hold him back. That's pushed out on the onside for 4 runs. It really asked for it. It lacked good line and good length, and yet possibly moving away slightly. And any batsman of quality, just that's food and drink to him. Really just tucked it away on the onside for 4 runs.
Just helped along,
yes,
because line was not quite right. Just drifting down to its leg. Onto its thighs, just stood tall on the crease and flicked it onto its square leg. Easy boundary that for...
very easy boundary, yes.
Hardik Pandya.
So Beard in again. Past to the umpire. That's just overpitched this time and on the off stump, and that is 4. Speeds away to the boundary just in front of square. And it's that man, Feroz Kushi, who's been in the action a lot this morning in the first half hour or so. It's he who retrieves the ball.
So he's moved on to 49, Hardik Pandya. That's been quick. He's had off just 33. It's just been an hour's play. Not even an hour's play, in fact, just over half an hour's play here. And
yes,
he's made quite some good progress.
So Beard again. From the river end, the end from which we commentate, moves in past umpire Nick Cook, bowls, and that's just play with total defence. Trickles back halfway down the wicket, and the bowler himself does the fielding. End of the over, 351 for 8.
India will be very happy with the way Hardik Pandya is going about his business at the moment. He's somebody that they look to for contributing with both bat and ball. He will be a very vital cog for them during the Test series. In South Africa, he started off well, scoring 90-odd at Cape Town. That was a very tough wicket to bat on. And his form with the bat just tapered off a bit in that Test series. Even in the limited overs series, he didn't get much chance to bat because Virat Kohli scored so many hundreds.
Paul Walter to Jadeja, tucks it away backwards, square on the onside for a comfortable single as Matt Dixon moves in from long leg to field.
And on this tour, he's been busy when at the crease, getting those busy 20s and 30s, but never really got the chance to really bat time, which can be tough for a batsman who comes down at number 5, 6, 7 in limited overs arena. But now, ahead of the Test series, I think this is really valuable from somebody like Pandya.
As Walter moves in again, bowls. Clipped away pleasantly, just backward and square on the onside. Nobody there. Well, the story is there's a man at... my view was just obscured by the window frame. And it's Aaron Beard. And the applause greets his 50, Pandya's 50, off...
81.
What does that say? 81 deliveries. I really must go to the optician. So I'm having more trouble reading this screen than I did last season. That's a good indication, isn't it?
Well, it's a small screen.
It is a small screen. It's no smaller than it was last year, though. It's cracked away.
That's out.
And, well, yet again, it's not the best of deliveries. They get a wicket and, well, I'm inclined to think maybe Paul Walter ought to go and buy a lottery ticket because he's having some good fortune today. That, again, was short of a length and it could have been cracked away anywhere on the offside, really. And Pandya cracked it straight into the covers. He cracked it in the right place, but not at the right height. Very comfortable catching height. And the Indians lose their 9th wicket. I've lost my pen. No, here it is. And they're 354 for 9.
Loose stroke from Hardik Pandya immediately after his half century, but the ball was there to be hit.
Yes.
Like you said, it wasn't the best delivery from Walter. And he's been spraying the ball a bit, but well. We have to see who has come out to bat. But again, he went for the shot because the ball was there to be hit. Didn't time it properly and just ended up offering that catch. And it is Rishabh Pant who's the last man in for India. And I'll tell you, it's very interesting because since yesterday, the scorecard shows Ashwin every time a wicket falls. And Ashwin hasn't come out to bat at all, which is really ironical if you think about it. Every time a wicket falls, if the next batsman is listed as Ashwin until the scoreboard or the scoreboard manager realizes it's somebody else who's walking in. So 11 times that's happened, and he's not come out to bat at all.
I hope he knows he hasn't been due to come in as well.
He said he's been waiting for an awfully long time to bat if he is slated to bat.
So the batsman to come in, as Chetan says, is Rishabh Pant. And it says in brackets also WK, so he keeps wicket as well.
He's the backup wicket keeper. India's future hope behind the stumps and in front of it as well. Terrific batsman, attacking batsman. And he's in form from the India A Tour recently.
So 354 for 9 as Walter moves in and bowls and the batsman just plays deliberately inside the line. So Chetan, you've presumably seen most of India on this tour, have you?
I tend to travel. I've been fortunate to travel.
You watched all the games?
I have been traveling for the last couple of years. Yeah, I have seen quite a few games.
But you've watched all this tour?
All this tour, yes.
That's what I meant, really, yes. So I'll come back to my question after this delivery. That's just played quietly, defensively pushed back to ball. So how confident are you of an India victory in the Test series?
Reasonably confident, because I look up, I see bright blue sky, not a cloud about, the sun is shining nice and
bright. It's all going to change.
That's the hope. That's the hope, I'm told. But and there is, since Cardiff, Bristol, Lords, Leeds, there's been a bit of crass on the wickets.
As Walter moves in again and bowls, and the batsman plays that on the shot, on the run rather, moving into the shot as he plays it, just pushes it out to mid-on to get underway for a single to Pant, and he'll retain the strike, so that's the end of the over.
But at the same time, despite that green top layering we've seen at different locations, even here, the pitches have turned out to be really batting beauties or batsman friendly, really. Some have taken some turn as well. And if that continues to be the case throughout the summer, India's batsmen and India's spinners will really come into play.
Yes.
I think it'll be an even contest, but if you take out England's pace attack out of the reckoning, I think India's scales tick up a bit.
Shane Snater come into the attack. We didn't even realise he was on the field. And well, he's one of these people who didn't have a numbered shirt on his back. Played a couple of limited over games for Essex earlier on in the season. I recall him making an appearance at the Rose Bowl at Hampshire. And nobody, well, I say nobody, that's a daft thing to say. Most Essex supporters hadn't heard of him, and he just suddenly appeared. We thought it was a wind-up at first. But right arm over the wicket, seam bowler, runs away from us. Oh, and a good delivery, moves away off the wicket and goes through into the gloves of Michael Pepper, keeping wicket. So Snater plays his club cricket. I'm trying to remember who for the Essex League anyway. Might be Wilford. Somewhere up that direction, I think. Gets the end of his run-up. Moves in now past umpire Nick Cook. Bowls. Short of the length, cracked away for 4. That came out of the middle of the bat. You know, no doubt, assuming our effects mic is turned up correctly, I'm sure you heard that. That's that noise when the ball is hit right in the sweetest part of the bat, that sort of crack. And you know, as soon as you hear a sound of that quality, that it's likely to go for 4, and it certainly did.
And that's what Pant can do, in fact, because he's that sort of batsman, always looking to score, always looking to get on top of the ball. And once that ball was there to be hit, placed his front foot forward and just drove it forward.
Snater in again to Pant, just pushes that out on the side this time. Fielded at mid-on. No addition to the score. And just realised I've outstayed my welcome a little bit. At the end of this over, I'll make way for Stefan. We're about midway through the over. Indeed, we are midway through it, assuming there are no invalid deliveries bowled in it. 3 gone, 3 to play. Oh, well, I think the indication means keep going. Very well. As a married man of many years, I just do as I'm told. And if Stefan says keep going, I'll keep going.
I think
Let's play a short of a length outside the off stump, play down backwards, square on the offside. See, married men have a different approach to single men. Single men say, no, I'm going to do my own thing. Married men, because they're used to it, it's part of their upbringing. Yes, okay. Anybody tells me to do something, I'll just do it.
General rule of thumb around the world.
Yes, that's right. Anything for a quiet life is the theory. The Snater moves in and bowls. And that's short of a length, cracked away at the offside. Won't go for 4 this time. I think it's Aaron Beard who does. It worries me actually when I see on grounds baked as hard as this, when I see them throwing themselves around on the ground. And I mean, it brought it off successfully, and 2 runs accrued. But it's doing things like that always remind me of that dreadful injury that the player whose name I forget now, the Welsh bowler picked up in Australia, which effectively ended his career. And it's recommended that fielders don't take any unnecessary risks. And that's just because it's just not worth it. Let's just play down to the onside.
I doubt you'll see any of the Indian fielders putting in a dive on this out.
No, I wouldn't have thought so. It's just no, discretion is the better part of valour. So I think maybe probably time you took over the commentary then, isn't it, Cheetah? I'll come in with some fairly trite words from time to time.
We'll be glad to, as the end of the over, and India are 361 for 9. Rishabh Pant on 7 of just the 9 balls he's faced so far. Jadeja on 10 of 14. Rishabh Pant has looked good in the short stay, during his short stay at the crease so far. Standing tall on the trees, just using full face of the bat and meat of the blade as well. Water continuing from the far end to Jadeja. 2 slips in position, fuller delivery and played off the front foot back to the bowler, and no run added.
Yeah, and being a very tall man, Walter decided to stop that with a good old-fashioned number, size 10 boot, which is his prerogative.
Just 21st over for Walter, so he has put in the hard yards.
He has, yes.
Can't really complain.
He's been bowling unchanged for 46 minutes or so, according to my cheap and nasty watch. Well, cheap, nasty, but very accurate, I hasten to add. And I think they're going to change the ball.
Yes, the umpires are taking a look. Perhaps it's been hit too hard. We've seen some cracking shots today, although they have resulted in a few wickets as well. It was Dinesh Karthik with a full-blooded cut of the very first ball that was caught, and then Hardik Pandya, some boundaries as well.
You were here yesterday. I noticed that it says we've now had 94 overs. Presumably Essex did take a new ball roundabout after 80 yesterday, did they?
Yeah, just over the 80-over mark.
So therefore this ball is not much more than a dozen overs old, is it?
No, not really. So we've seen quite a few strokes. In the last half hour yesterday, Dinesh Karthik and Hardik Pandya just really attacked the bowling. Like I said, it had been a hot day yesterday as well. And, fielding for the entire day in this heat can be energy sapping.
Oh, yes.
Even this morning, like I said, Dinesh Karthik, first ball, full-blooded cut. Hardik Pandya with some boundaries as well. Jadeja has tonked the ball. And Rishabh Pant, that cover drive that you so eloquently described off the meat of the bat. That was some knocking on the ball.
It hardly needed description. It just struck me that that moment, the sound of it was just sort of summed up good cricket shots. It's a sort of sound I'd have loved to have heard more often when I played club cricket. And usually all I heard was the sound of the ball hitting the edge or hitting the stumps.
And I can tell you there are a lot of people listening to this broadcast because it's not being broadcast live. There's a stream going out, but more people are tuned in to the radio. As Walter runs in this time, played it past the second slip down towards third man for a single. Jadeja wanted to come back for a second, but Rishabh Pant said no. Both left-handers at the crease at the moment, so again the fielders will be happy that they don't have to change sides every delivery, every time a single is taken. Really. Right. As for the fielders, mid-on, mid-off, and extra cover, backward point in position, third man 2 for Rishabh Pant as he's facing Walter. Full drive finds the gap between cover and point. Length into that drive. Won't get 4 because it's cut off, but is able to come back for 2 runs easily as Pant moves on to 9. India's score is 364 for the loss of 9 wickets.
There again, it was that man Aaron Beard who was in hot pursuit and then indeed put the dive in to save it, but got away with it.
Are they changing the field? We'll just have to take a look. No, it's just the ball that's being delayed and delayed delivery to the bowler as Walter on top of his mark once again. Rishabh Pant facing 2 slips still in position. Outside the off stump, in a good channel, and the batsman simply lets it go. And the score stays the same. It's 364 for 9. You tell me, have you been following India around on this tour? I mean, obviously you've been watching or keeping track of the scores.
Yes, I mean, I haven't seen them in the flesh at all. No, of course I've... well done, George. The water deliverer arrives. Aquarius. Thank you very much.
Walter once again running into Rishabh Pant, who slips in positions. Is Fuller on the middle and leg. He comes forward and drives down the ground, beats the fielder at mid-on and will get a boundary to his score. He moves on to 13 double figures for Rishabh Pant. As Stephen likes to say, one of the better number 11s that this Essex crown has seen. Score for India moves on to 368 for 9.
Yes. No, as I was saying, I haven't seen the Indians in the flesh this season, but before today. But I've not obviously, but I have watched most of the matches they've played on television. Very entertaining viewing it's been.
Walter running into Rishabh Pant once again, this time straying down the leg side, and he's played it off his legs. Work for the fielder in the deep, who cuts off the ball, puts in a diving effort, and some cheer from the crowd for his efforts there. Meanwhile, the batsmen are able to come back for 2 runs, and India's score moves on to 370 for 9. But just before we let you go, Dick, then what do you think of India's
Let me go or kick me out.
No, let you go, because we'll be needing you back again shortly. What do you think of India's chances in this series?
I think it's going to... I'm going to sit on the fence here. I think it's going to be a very good series, provided that the weather lasts. I just have this nasty feeling that the weather might break completely, and I just hope it doesn't ruin the series, because this can't go on forever. I know we've been saying that for 2 months, but no, I think we're in for a very, very good series. So after a few more words from Cheaton, he'll be joined by Stefan.
Spoken like a true Englishman, who are all praying for the weather to change and get some rain in as change of ends. Rishabh Pant on strike, or in fact it's Ravindra Jadeja on strike, and we have Sneijder continuing from the river end. Played it down back to the bowler for just a dot delivery. Jadeja is on 11 of 17 balls. And, well, you'll be hearing these voices again and again. As we welcome back Stefan on air with us.
I'm a bit late. Been having to do things for BBC Radio 5 Live and the World Service.
Sneijder continues to Jadeja. Fuller, this time on the front foot, drive the ball on the ground and field it at mid-off by Matt Dixon. So no run added there. And we'll all be late time and again today because it's just three of us calling the game, and we have our fingers in whole different sort of pies here.
Would you have to start writing soon, when the England squad arrives?
Waiting for the England Test squad to be announced to ship off a report back home. As Sneijder runs in once again. Jadeja facing two slips, waiting. This time drifted down towards the leg side and just off the pads and to the field at square leg for a run. India 371 for 9. It'll be Rishabh Pant on strike now.
I mean, this has got to be the highest quality 10th wicket partnership ever.
Absolutely.
Anywhere in any game of cricket.
Or at least I can stick my head out and say at least at this ground.
If you've got any suggestions, hashtag BBC Cricket, of a better 10th wicket partnership than this.
Sneijder running into Rishabh Pant this time on the leg stump, and what a brilliant shot that is from Pant. Chase for the fielder who tried to dive and stop it but was not successful as the ball reaches the boundary. Another 4 for Rishabh Pant, who's quickly moving on to 19 of just the 14 balls faced. India now 375 for 9.
Yeah, it's lovely from Pant, just angling into the pads, and he's lent on that one through mid-wicket. Picked up 4 to the longest part of the ground.
That is quite a long boundary, and the ease with which the ball reached there just showed how much Rishabh Pant put into it. And he is a brilliant player, one for the future, as everyone around India, everyone invested in cricket in India, in fact, and that is usually the definition of everyone, is highly interested in Rishabh Pant's career graph. Sneijder running in once more, 2 deliveries left in this over. This time wide outside the off stump, and he's cut it away past the slip cordon. The fielder at third man has no chance. The umpire just waiting for a signal to check whether it was 4 or 6. Now he signaled it's a boundary, and he's motoring along now. Rishabh Pant moves into the 20s, 23 of 15 back-to-back boundaries, 379 for 9.
Why do you think we've seen... I mean, it's unlikely that Rishabh Pant will play next week, isn't it?
Yes.
Why do you think we've seen him back rather than, say, Ravi Ashwin?
Come back to that as Sneijder, last ball of this over, round the wicket to Rishabh Pant on the front foot and defends it straight to the fielder at mid-on. That's the end of the over. India 379 for 9 after 96 overs. And I'll continue talking and answer your question. It's a tough one to answer, really.
I think Ashwin just didn't fancy a bat.
He's been batting in the nets. He batted yesterday at lunch. I thought I saw him bat it up in the morning during warm-up as well. So it's really interesting why he hasn't come out to bat, because I was surprised when Ravi Jadeja walked out to bat, because usually even in Test cricket when both Jadeja and Ashwin are part of the same 11, it's Ashwin who bats ahead. He's batted as high as number 5 or 6, so again it's a real success.
And the scoreboard operator's been trying to get Ashwin out at the fall of every wicket.
Yes, I mentioned that while I was in there that at the fall of every wicket we see Ashwin's name, but he's not come out to bat. As we have a bowling change, Matt Dixon coming in from the Hayes end. It's Ravi Jadeja facing, lets this one go to the wicket-keeper. It was wide outside the off-stump. Fuller delivery though, might have been tempted to play at it, but decided against it.
It's been a much more circumspect Ravi Jadeja than what we have been used to here in England, certainly. Often when Jadeja has batted in red ball cricket against England, we've seen him quite skittish, very aggressive, unorthodox. can often be troubled by extreme pace, which Essex aren't blessed with today.
Dixon into Jadeja, this time close to the off stump. It was back of a length. He decided to go on the back foot and let the ball go back to the wicketkeeper again. But this time it just angled in, and like I said, it was very close to the off stump. Good leave.
Yeah, there's only two kinds of leave. Good and bad.
Well, his judgment, or I think he hoped his judgment was on point on that last delivery, and indeed it was. Otherwise, it would have been the end of the Indian innings. Just been under an hour's play today. India have motored along. Dixon once again to Jadeja, 2 slips in waiting. This time on the leg stump and into his patch. Tried to clip it down the leg side with a play and a miss.
You seem that we could be in for our highest temperature ever recorded in the UK tomorrow.
99 degree Fahrenheit, I thought.
Well, yeah, there's all sorts of numbers being bandied around.
Degree Fahrenheit, 99.
99, yeah.
But there's also, last night I was checking a few reports, there was also this warning of torrential downpour.
Oh, it will come.
Yeah, it will, yes. I think it was in the first couple of weeks here on this tour. As Dixon, once again, I'll come back to that. Dixon running in and Jadeja facing. This time again, drifting down towards the leg side, played off his pads down towards fine leg as the batsman crossed over for a single. One more added as the umpire signals for leg by, so that's added to India's total, who've moved on to 380 for 9. Jadeja still on 11.
Already today it feels warmer than it did yesterday. There's no breeze coming through the commentary box window. That was what kept us cool yesterday. And I was out and about in Chelmsford this morning, and even at 8:30, 9 o'clock, you could just tell it was going to be a hotter day today than it was yesterday. And yesterday was warm.
I'm wearing different shoes, a very light t-shirt as well. It's too hot, just too hot, as Dixon continues to toil down the leg side, punt again off his pads. Fine leg fielder being made to work again. That's Aaron Beard. This time, the umpire makes no signal, so that's a run added to Rishabh Pant's tally, who's on a 24 of 17 balls. It's 381 for 9. So again, it was an early conversation on this trip, I think, with a fellow colleague. And I remember saying, it's not raining at this moment, but when it does start to rain, it won't stop for a while. Won't you like that? We'll come back to that as Dixon runs in once again to Jadeja, facing this time Fuller on the off stump. He tries, but finds the fielder at extra cover.
How have you, and at the end of the over, it's 381 for 9. How have you and the rest of everyone who's travelled from India enjoyed these temperatures? Were you hoping to come to England for some respite from the extreme temperatures that you get at home?
Half my clothes are warm. So I thought it would be warmer shirts than we are used to wearing in India, and perhaps a couple of jackets. Let me tell you, they're just packed in at the lowest levels of my heavy 23 kilo suitcase, as I've had no use for them. I'm recycling my summer clothes again and again, as there's no change in the bowling. We have Slater coming back from the river end, and he'll be bowling to Rishabh Pant. 2 slips still in position, although he'll be changing the line, changing the angle. He'll be coming around the wicket this time. There's backward point, extra cover, mid-off, mid-on, and mid-wicket in position as well. Slater to Rishabh Pant, and play and a miss. That's a good ball. Drove him, got him driving forward. He was on the front foot, but the ball angled across and has beaten Pant. All ends up. Brilliant ball there from Slater.
Yeah, he's a guy we didn't see yesterday, Slater, but he's been impressive so far today.
Just enticing the batsman to come forward and smack it for 4, but a play and a miss there. Slater once again to Pant. As this time Fuller, and on the front foot once again, got down on one knee and drove, but found the fielder at cover. And I just read this tweet. India's number 10 and 11 have 4 first-class triple hundreds between them. So like I said, or like we discussed, this is a very high-quality last-wicket pairing, perhaps the highest quality last-wicket pairing ever seen at Essex Cricket County Club.
And we have the England Test squad.
Oh,
been announced.
We do.
And
After this delivery, coming back to you, Stephen. Snater to Rishabh Pant, this time standing on to his crease, standing tall, dabbed it down towards backward point, no run added.
Well, there are a lot of headlines. Adil Rashid is included.
Okay.
Despite opting out of playing first-class cricket over the winter, Moeen Ali is recalled. There is no place for either Dominic Bess or Jack Leach. Chris Wokes is not fit enough, so Sam Curran retains his place, and also, very interested to members of these parts, remember we're on Sports Extra and BBC Essex, the Essex pace bowler Jamie Porter is called up for the first time.
Snater to Rishabh Pant is drifting down the leg, and he's just held the ball along past the wicketkeeper. No chance for fine leg to cut that one off. Another boundary for Pant. He moves on to 28 of 21 balls. It's 385 for 9. And Stephen, we were talking about Porter yesterday, weren't we?
We were, and he was a man who was thought to be strongly in contention for the second test against Pakistan at Headingley. He just missed out, so that the England squad in full is Joe Root, Moeen Ali, Jimmy Anderson, Johnny Bairstow, Stuart Broad, Joss Butler, Alistair Cook, Sam Curran, Keaton Jennings, Dawid Malan, Jamie Porter, Adil Rashid and Ben Stokes. And Chetan Narula is a man who's got to go off and write about this.
After this over, as Snater runs into Rishabh Pant, and fuller delivery on the off stump and on the front foot, drives, find the fielder straight at cover, scores still at 385 for 9. Still have a couple of balls to go, so I think can wait for that. But again, interesting that both Moeen Ali and Adil Rashid are back. More importantly, what sort of a message does it send out? Because Adil Rashid had said that he's not going to play any red ball cricket.
Yeah, I mean, that is what's going to cause the headlines. So it's interesting. It's a very un-England thing to do. Dominic Bess and Jack Leach were the men in possession. Bess hasn't been able to get into the Somerset squad, and Rashid has probably been the form spinner in the country so far.
Snater for the last ball of his third over. Play and a miss from Pant once again, asking the batsman to come forward and drive the ball. He was on his front foot and went for the drive, but completely missed. That's a good over, despite that odd boundary. End of his third over in this spell. 13 overs overall. India 385 for 9. You'll hear from Stephen Moore as I go back to write my report.
Thanks, Chetan. Players are going to take drinks at the end of the first hour of this second day. India 385 for 9, Jadeja 11, Rishabh Pant 28. If you're just joining us, they began the day on 322 for 6. They've lost Dinesh Karthik for 82, Karan Nair for 4, and Hardik Pandya for 51. Jadeja and Pant, no mugs with the bat, 4 first-class triple centuries between them, but because India have 18 players available to them in this match, they are batting at 10 and 11. So one more wicket for Essex to take here on BBC Radio 5 Live Sports Extra and BBC Essex. But the big news surrounding English cricket at the moment is the announcement of that first test squad. You can hear full details across the BBC and read more on the BBC Sport website. To reiterate, Adil Rashid, the man who opted out of first-class cricket over the winter, is recalled to the England test side. No place for Dominic Bess or Jack Leach. Moeen Ali also earns a recall, so England have the option of playing 2 spinners and Dick Davis, a first call-up for Jamie Porter.
Yes, it's. I think it's a little bit of a surprise to my mind, because he hasn't had quite as good a season as he had last year. He had a spectacular season last year. This year he just had a very good season, but it was. Well, nothing is inevitable in life, but it was pretty likely he was going to get a test call at some stage. So I'm sure Essex supporters will be delighted on his behalf. Let's just hope that he actually gets in the team. And as regards Rashid, well, I think I said an hour or so ago. Personally, I think I just don't like that sort of thing. And if I were either Mr. Leach or Mr. Bess, I would be at best a little bit miffed, I think. And similarly, if I were Yorkshire supporters, I'd be extremely miffed. You know, what a cavalier, what an almost arrogant attitude it is, just to say, well, I'll play for England, but not for my county. I think I've expressed my view now, fairly unambiguously.
We're expecting plenty of reaction across that. In fact, there was, looking around social media today, there was lots of people almost preempting Adil Rashid's selection,
yes,
saying that they would be unhappy if he was picked in the squad. Just to your point about Jamie Porter, he's taken more wickets than any other seam bowler
over the past 2 seasons of the County Championship. He's the only seam bowler in the County Championship in 2017 and 2018 with more than 100 wickets. He has 103 to his name. Just behind him, Joe Leach with 92, Darren Stevens 86, Ben Code 83 and Jofra Archer 80. Those statistics coming from CricViz. So he's earned his spot.
Certainly has.
The chances are he's probably there as cover, because if you think that Sam Curran is the man in possession, he played in the last Test match, and there's also the option that England will go in with 2 spinners. But the interesting development, I guess, is more for the second Test, when England will not have Ben Stokes. That is when he is due to stand trial, and he will miss the second Test match at Lords. So if England want more pace bowling options, then maybe Jamie Porter becomes more of an option then. We're told that Porter has earned a spot ahead of Chris Woakes and Mark Wood, both of whom are unfit. Mark Wood had a scan on an injury, I think it was an injured heel, earlier on this week, and Chris Woakes, who's returning from injury, has been determined to be not quite ready to play Test cricket. So Porter, the next man in line, and you think he's leapt over bowlers like Tom Curran, who played over the winter, also Craig Overton, and Jamie Overton, who has been talked about very heavily after he showed good pace for Somerset so far this season. So congratulations to Jamie Porter, but probably won't be the story nationally. A lot of focus will be on the likes of Adil Rashid, especially, and also the recall of Moeen Ali.
Yes, that's right. Well, in a way, that will suit Porter fine if he sort of creeps in under the radar, because he's not mentally, or his attitude is not the stereotypical fast bowler's attitude as well. He's a very sort of quietly spoken, sort of unobtrusive, shy, retiring sort of fellow, delightful character. Doesn't have the normal sort of hellfire and brimstone attitude of seam bowlers, and he'll be quite happy that the spotlight isn't on him, and that it's in fact on others.
So Matt Dixon, from the Hayes close end, drinks have concluded, and Dixon's in now to Jadeja, who defends into the offside from the crease, and there's no run. India 385 for 9. Jadeja has 11 from 24 deliveries. Pant has 28 from 23 deliveries. I think the phone you can hear in the background is Chetan Narula, I think no, it's not Chetan Narula. I wonder if he was getting lots of messages from India discussing the Test squad. But it remains a wonderful day here at Chelmsford. Warm and sunny. Gulls have blown in from the sea. You can just hear them in our effects like they're flying high overhead. As Dixon is in once more, it's outside the off stump, and Jadeja leaves alone.
Yeah, the sea is 20 miles away, but it might have made its way up the A130, I think it is.
Do you know, sometimes, I don't know how true this is, but I was told it once, that birds, sometimes they mistake roads for bodies of water. So they'll follow roads thinking that they'll find food.
Oh. But similarly, they hover over roads anyway, don't they? Waiting for creatures to get killed.
True. What a lovely thought. Dixon comes running into Jadeja. It's outside the off stump and left alone. 385 for 9. What's this stand to our right here, Dick?
The Tom Pearce stand.
So in the Tom Pearce stand, there are 2 chaps sitting right at the back of the Tom Pearce stand, and there is almost no shade around Chelmsford. The stand to our left, Dick, underneath the tree, which one's that?
Well, that is what's called the community stand, really.
So the community stand, that's the only one with cover, really, unless you're underneath
yes,
the bottom tier of the Tom Pearce stand. And there's 2 fellows who've unfurled a very colourful umbrella to shield themselves from the sun. Here comes Dixon to Jadeja, and once more that's outside the off stump, and again, Jadeja not interested in playing. And they caught my eye during the drinks break. I was almost distracted from the England Test squad because they were having such a battle with that umbrella.
Oh, were they?
They looked like 2 guys who were on the beach battling with a windbreak. Now it is up, and I can see yellow, red, green and blue.
Yes.
And they look very well sheltered from
do.
the sunshine.
We hasten to add they're in the back row. They wouldn't be very popular if they were anywhere other than the back row.
It's a huge umbrella. It's the sort you might put over a table in a pub or your back garden.
Right.
Dixon in, he bowls. That's a straight delivery that Jadeja wristily clips towards long leg. There is work for the fielder to do there. It comes round, so there's just a single taken. Matt Quinn firing the ball back in to Michael Pepper. And the score moves on to 386 for 9.
Yes, that's the preferred option for the members to watch from the top of the Tom Pierce stand. Although many days this last couple of months they've been choosing to watch from underneath, out of the sun and in the shade down below. I should imagine it's full down there. We can't see, our view is obscured, but I would imagine that's full as well.
Exeter took a couple. Jadeja back on strike, 387 for 9. Dixon is in. It's a lovely stroke from Jadeja, but well fielded at points. Jadeja forcing off the back foot. It was Rishi Patel who did the fielding at point, preventing a certain boundary. Instead, he parried the ball and they took one. India 388 for 9 at the end of the over. Jadeja has 14 and Pant 28.
The batsman out today, Kartik, off the very first ball of the day, caught by Dixon at a very wide third man or deep backward point. Caught by Dixon off Walter for his overnight score of 82. Then Nair was bowled by Beard, a delivery that he played on to such an extent that the ball only just dislodged the bail. He was bowled for 4. And Pandya was caught in the covers by Rishi Patel off the bowling of Paul Walter for, I didn't write that down, for 51. And wickets going at 322, 328 and 354.
Shane Snater into bowl to Jadeja, who edges all along the ground towards second slip, where Matt Coles falls like a tree in the forest and just about gets his left hand down to prevent any runs being scored. Jadeja, he's a wiry figure, very slender. He's aggressively passing down the surface of the pitch with his bat in his right hand, and now he flexes his knees a couple of times and adjusts the blue helmet on his head, jams his hands against his thigh pad and waits for the dark-haired Snater. He's down the track, Jadeja, meeting the ball with a defensive stroke. Snater imitates to throw the ball back at Jadeja, who then holds his bat up as almost like a shield to say, "It's okay, I'm retreating. Get excited."
And the smell of cooking food wafts in on the breeze, which is pleasant in a way, but quite frustrating in another.
The outfield is parched, turned to sand in places. Snater walks back towards us. Now he's away from us on his way to Jadeja, who inside edges. Take a single. Snater was almost up, celebrating, but instead he's frustrated, walking back to his mark with his hand running through his dark hair. 389 for 8.
I did actually witness rain last Friday. I was at Cheltenham, where I commentated on half of Essex's T20 game against Gloucestershire. And then, well, if not the heavens opened, then there was enough rain to abandon things for the rest of the evening. So, rain is sort of wet stuff that we used to see a lot of in this country.
Snater has a bandage on his left arm. He's in now to Rizar Pant, who digs out a very full delivery. The ball goes into the covers where Varun